Hello and welcome to another Capture the Flag edition of Daryl Show Your Work. All right, episode 82 to be exact. So in this video, I'll be exploiting the WinRM protocol, and I'll be doing that using a variety of different methods here. All right, so to preface my video, as I always do, anytime I'm doing any type of red teaming or offensive security actions, this is for educational, ethical, research purposes only. Any sort of malicious actions that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching my video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so to get started here, we can see that our target IP, I've already gathered that information, is this address that we can see in the middle of the screen. Is 10.3.18.175. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do with that target host is I'm going to run an nmap scan, and I'm going to run a scan specifically on port 5985. And before I'm getting ahead of myself here, before I go on to do that, I just want to give a high level overview of what WinRM is. So WinRM is actually short for Windows Remote Management. And what that is, it's a Microsoft technology that uses the WS management protocol to allow IT professionals to manage remote computers and hardware from a single location. So it enables a task like running scripts, gathering management data, and performing remote command line operations. And it's a core component of features like PowerShell or remoting. All right, and as I just stated before, of course, it runs on port 5985, which I am going to be enumerating with the nmap scanner here. All right, so to get started on that, I'm going to say nmap, and we're going to run a service scan. So I'm going to say dash s lowercase s uppercase v, and then I'm going to say dash lowercase p to specify the port, and that's 5985. All right, and then did I copy this? No, I did not. So let's copy that. All right. All right. So let's run the scan. It shouldn't take too long at all. All right. So WinRM, it's another one of those protocols where when we scan it, it's not going to actually come back as WinRM. All right. So we just typically know if we scan the 5985 port. All right. Or if that comes back, if we get something returned back saying it's open, closed, filtered, we know that that's generally tends to be the WinRM default port. All right. So the next thing we could do is we could try to further, since we know that this is open, we could try to further enumerate things. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to actually use a tool called CrackMapExec. All right, and what CrackMapExec is, it's an open source and post exploitation framework. Think of it as a Swiss Army knife for assessing the security of large Active Directory networks. So it's a versatile tool used primarily by pen testers and security professionals to automate tasks like network enumeration, testing credentials, and identifying misconfigurations, which we're going to do a bit of these things. All right. So the first thing that I want to do in order to begin using this tool, I'm gonna say crack map exec. All right, and that's going to start up the crack map exec tool. All right, just to further show you what that looks like because it may not have all appeared on the screen. All right, so that's what it looks like usually when it boots. All right. So, all right, the next thing that I want to do is I want to use this I want to use this tool to do some brute forcing. So, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it with the assumption that this backend server that's running um WinRM, that it's has an administrator account. All right, so I'm going to, when I run this brute force, I'm going to set the username as administrator, and I'm going to use a word list to try to crack a password associated with that account. So if there is no administrator account, the whole thing should fail. Uh, if there is one, then hopefully it's simple enough to be able to crack and not a very complicated password. So let's see. So I'm gonna type in CrackMapExec again, and I'm gonna specify the protocol, which is WinRM. All right, then I need to give it the IP that we're aiming this at. All right, and then I'm gonna say -u, and let's specify the username account we want to aim this at. So we're gonna see if there's an account called administrator. All right, and then we're gonna use a word list. So let me go back and get rid of that. All right, so that's located at user share metasploit-framework data word lists, and then the name of the password file we're going to use is we're going to use the Unix underscore password.txt file. Right, so let's just check my syntax here, make sure I didn't misspell anything. Okay, I should be good to go. All right, so let's execute that and see what we get back. All right, didn't like something I had here. Let's see, what didn't I spell right? Ah, okay. Got the S off of passwords. All right, let's try that again. There we go. All right. So we actually got a hit here. All right. So we have an administrator account, and then we have a username Tinkerbell, and we could tell the successful one by this green plus sign opposed to the red minus sign, and also CrackMapExec comes back with a pwned message for us to let us know that we were successful in our brute force. All right, so now that we have these credentials, let's try to now enter into the system. Let's see if we can enter into the system and run a command. So I'm going to replace this whole thing here now that we have the password. All right. I'm going to now, not only am I going to brute force it, well, not brute force it, I'm going to actually now, I'm going to use CrackMapExec to log in with WinRM, and then log in and then execute dash lowercase x, and execute the command whoami, and to try to do some enumeration here. And let's see if that works, to see if I could get a username or user account here. And yes, I did. All right. So in doing that, again, it's showing that I was able to get in, and then it verified that my username is server/administrator. All right. So it looks like I was able to successfully execute that whoami command. So let's try another command here. So if I want to do some further enumeration with CrackMapExec, I'm gonna type in systeminfo. Let's run that. All right, and now it's done. Now it's further enumerated what's going on the back end. So I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. So we can actually see that this server is actually a virtual instance, and we can know that because we can see the Amazon.com here, and then we can see that it's actually an EC2 instance. All right. So anytime we see that, we know that that is a virtual server being ran on AWS. All right. So again, so we could use that. To our advantage if we know we wanted to run any sort of AWS specific exploits. We could be able to do that with this information that I just enumerated here. All right. So there's another way that we could actually run this same exploit, and we could also do this with some with a module within the Metasploit framework. So I'm gonna show how we can exploit WinRM using that. So let's start that up. So I'm gonna say service. All right, then let's say we're gonna start up the PostgreSQL server. Excuse me, database. All right, then combine that with starting up the MSF console, and that should get us a session within the Metasploit framework here in a few seconds. All right. All right, so let's make a workspace for myself. So I'm gonna say workspace -a, and we're gonna call it WinRM. All right, and let's say workspace and just make sure we're still in there. We are. All right. So so first let's set our target host as a global parameter, so I don't have to keep setting it. All right. And I use the R host to do that. All right. And then I'm going to search specifically for something that targets WinRM. So let's see if we can find any tools that do that. All right, so I want to find something that runs remote, that can run a script remotely. And I see one tool here specifically that does this, and that is tool number 4, the WinRM script exec module here, exploitation module. All right, and then if we look at the description here, it's WinRM script execution remote code exec remote code execution, which is what I want to do. All right, so I'm gonna just say use 4 since that's the module ID. All right, and it loads it up for me. So let's go to show options to see what parameters I have to set with this module in order to get it to run. All right, so scroll up a little. All right, so again, our host has already been set because I set that as a global parameter, and then also our port, because we're using a WinRM specific module, is set it sets the 5985 as a default port by default, since it's designed to target WinRM. So basically, looking at this, the only things that I should have to set up here is the username and password, which we were able to gain from our previous brute force using CrackMapExec. So let me scroll down here and let's get to setting that up. So I'm gonna say set username. All right, and we know the account that we want to target is the administrator account. All right. Then we're going to set password to Tinkerbell. All right, and so everything else should be good to go. We're set as the listening host in the L port. We can leave that alone as 4444. All right, so I'm gonna say exploit. All right, let's see if we're able to get the same results. All right, it's a good sign. Uploading PowerShell script. All right, so it's using PowerShell to try to start a interpreter session for us, and voila, we got our interpreter session. All right, so all right, remember this is a capture the flag edition of show your work. All right, so now the mission is now that I've established a connection to the remote host. Now I want to do some. I'm going to first show some how we can enumerate this just as we did using CrackMapExec, and then I'm gonna actually go into the remote host, and we're gonna go and search for that flag. All right, so the first thing, let's see, I'm gonna say sysinfo. All right, and then return that information to me. So this one, it just simply told me that it's running Windows Server 2019. So CrackMapExec actually gave me more information about the nature of the host, where it basically told me that it was, yeah, while it was running this particular operating system, the backend technology was a virtual AWS EC2 instance. All right, so actually, CrackMapExec gave me a bit more information to work with. All right, and then I'm gonna say get UID. All right, so it lets me know that I have system-wide authority. Okay, and so now I'm going to actually jump into the system. I'm actually going to execute the reverse shell and actually go into the host system and then start executing commands within the local drive there. All right, so I'm in the C drive here. All right, looks like I have I'm in system 32. So let's see. Now let's start looking for the flag. So let's say dir. All right. Ooh, a lot there. Let's scroll up and see. We can see any flag. Looks like everything's in alphabetical order, which is good. So I could just scroll up to the S and look, I got a long way to go to get the F. Good grief. You know what? Let's try this. If it's not in here, this is the way to test it. If it's not in here, then it's going to come back and give me an error. So type flag, let's see txt and see what happens. All right, nothing. So it's not in there. So let's change directory. I'm gonna do cd and let's go back to the root of C and let's see. Let's have a broader view and let's see if we can see the flag. All right, so we're in our root of the C drive. So I'm gonna just say dir again. Bam, there's our flag right at the top. All right here. I'm not sure why it's not highlighting. Ah, well. All right, so I'm gonna say type. Hold on, my lab seems like let's see. Not sure what happened there. Okay. Okay, I got good. Okay, I got back control of it. Okay, there's the flag. All right, so let's type in flag.txt. And there's the flag. All right, so was able to successfully capture the flag by um, by um, um, by executing a by first getting in using a interpreter session and then executing the reverse shell to get into the system and then find that flag. All right, so to give a high level overview of what was accomplished here, I started off by enumerating our target host, which I already had for us in the beginning of the video. All right, and then once we were able to deduce that port 5985 was open, that we had a good idea that WinRM was running on our target host. So then next, I used the CrackMapExec tool to then first brute force this particular protocol, assuming that an administrator account called administrator was running on that system, and I brute forced the password, which I was able to guess, and successfully crack map exec successfully came back that it was indeed Tinkerbell. We ran CrackMapExec a few more times using the administrator Tinkerbell combination. I was able to run a whoami command to see that we were indeed the administrator. We ran it again with a systeminfo command, which was able to enumerate the backend specifications of the server running, which came back letting us know that not only was it running Windows Server 2019 operating system, but also it was a virtual AWS EC2 instance. All right, so then um, also wanted to show how we can exploit WinRM using a metasploit framework. So we went into to there, searched for a tool tools that specifically target WinRM, and then deduced it out of the 5 or 6 that we found. I was able to deduce it down to something that allows the running of remote scripts on using the WinRM protocol. So I set the parameters on that module to basically giving it basically the same credentials we found when brute forcing using crack map exec and ran the module, was able to establish a interpreter a session looks like by using a PowerShell command within that module. And then once I did some further enumeration, then I executed the reverse shell, got into the actual system, looked around in a few directories, and finally, once changing directories to the root directory, found the flag there and successfully got the information that I wanted. And again, like I always say in every video, the flag represents sensitive information. So that can represent against social security numbers, bank accounts, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So this is another example of why a strong password policy is indeed necessary, and if you don't need to run remote scripts or have remote scripts running within on your system, don't allow it, because those 2 flaws is what allowed me to gain entry into the system and extract the information that I wanted to extract. So please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.